welcome to News 360 and the Platform News.
I'm Natalie Ford to look at the top.
Tonight on Elena's Ghost.
The only thing you want is the estate. And in order to get it, you're willing to say anything. But the only thing you love is my money.
You're being very unfair to me, Elena.
And you are very shameless. Get out of my house right now. Get out. Or I'm calling the police. Get out.
I truly don't think that Eduardo would be capable of throwing me out of the house if he knew that my brother were to suffer an unfortunate accident, you think?
Elena's Ghost, tonight at 6 p.m. on TV3.
Brought to you by
Cerelac, now with Iron Plus, big nutrition for small tummies.
In 2013, we shaped the course of national policy with compelling stories on education and health. In 2016, we provided the platform for political parties and the socially excluded to engage on issues of national concern. TV3 Mission is back with a bang. We navigate the turbulent terrain of deprived and hard-to-reach communities.
To one message for person access to teaching, empowering women to provide about.
We focus our sharp lenses on the health and educational needs of the socially excluded to influence policy interventions that promote inclusiveness.
And it tells you how serious.
We will get you resolved. Mission Ghana, live on News 360.
We sincerely apologize for that bad sound connection there, but the good thing is that we're back here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Natalie Ford to look at the top stories this evening.
Headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Premier Health Insurance, Calipo, Nido.
Teachers at all 46 colleges of education across the country to lay down their tools in October over their welfare packages.
Also, 2 persons escaped death after Takoradi-bound train crashed into a moving truck.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel expected in the country tomorrow for her first state visit to Ghana. Stay with us here on News 360. You've got the details of these stories and some more news. Our bulletin is streaming live all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Let's start off with our very first story this evening as a train on its way to haul manganese from Nsuta in the Takwa Nsuem municipality run into an articulated truck at the Gate 10 level crossing at the Takoradi port. The accident is reported to have happened at around 4 a.m. Passenger train services from Takoradi to Sekendi via Kojokrom and other trucks going in and out of the Takoradi port from Gate 10 could not move due to the accident.
According to an eyewitness, Joseph Opong, the train with about 20 empty wagons had crossed the level when it suddenly started reversing. He explained the signal man at the level crossing had by the time already waved his flag for cars to also pass. Joseph Opong explained the affected articulated truck, which had already started moving, was the first car to be affected.
Cars now were parking the woman. Inti cars started a wallabano. And now main gate are inside a also choke a crap. Inti car but or caffeine fin. The cars on the one so also a wallabano. Into our condition, your train will be chin or by hitting.
And not today, a common to
into a come of inferior. Don't come with you there. Now, men get to inside no Hadeno, no choke, Lawa, and now into Cassis, into also, what kind of one man now, offended. Cassis also started our banty, or come with inferior, and talk anymore, or could you, and now a train rules or can.
The driver was left unharmed as he is reported to have jumped out of the truck on seeing the approaching wagon. Passenger train services running on the newly constructed suburban rail line from Takoradi to Sekondi via Kojokrom could not run. Articulated trucks going to Gassem, Takoradi Flour Mills, Ghana Manganese Company Jetty and the Takoradi Port could not move for several hours as the accident had blocked the level crossing. However, pickup and other light vehicles were able to meander their way around the blockade. Engineers from the Ghana Railways Company Limited were on hand with a crane to lift the derailed wagon. They have been able to clear the accident, giving way for the trucks and other transport services to resume.
I still stay in the regions now, to the northern region where 3 persons have narrowly escaped death after armed robbers opened fire on them while they tried to prevent the robbers from robbing their target. Now, the 3, Abdul Razak, 22, Fusaini Ibrahim, 17, and Idris Imoro, 29, are all natives of Yendi in the northern region. A police report issued by the Northern Regional Police Public Relations Officer DSP Yusuf Tanko said the Yendi Police Division on August 28, 2018 at about 5:25 p.m. received information that gunshots were fired at the Yendi market area. Police proceeded to the scene and found 5 empty AK-47 shells and blood stains on the ground. On the spot, investigations revealed that a businessman and foreign currency dealer, Kofi Boateng, was attacked by 2 unidentified men in masks at gunpoint and robbed of all his money. Still on this particular issue and getting in now to stay a bit further in the Upper East region, where the founder and leader of All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, has condemned his boys for attacking a journalist from Ghana News Agency at Boko in the Upper East region. The APC leader, however, demands a retraction and an apology from the journalist on an earlier report that he was involved in a batik tie and dye deal. Over the weekend, reports were rife that the journalists from the Ghana News Agency have been attacked by Hassan Ayariga's supporters for allegedly publishing false news. In the story, the journalists alleged that a fabric producer, Adam Sawal, had attacked and assaulted Hassan Ayariga at his home a day to the Eid al-Adha celebrations. The journalist, Jerry Azanduna, who opened up to TV3 for the first time after the incident, accused Ayariga and his boys for maltreating him.
The man asked me again, do you know what the story you wrote about my assault has caused me? So I was about to open my mouth to explain myself out. Oh, when I just say a word, I was just about to say a word. No, they jumped on me, beat me mercilessly. Some were holding shovels and other things. He hit me left and right, so I fell unconscious until the army commander who is in charge of the Boku area, he came in. So when the man came in, he asked who is lying down, and then they said, oh, there's a journalist who wrote the story about Hassan Ayariga. So they are beating him. So the army commander quickly put me inside his car, drove me to the police station. I made a police report, and then they took me to the hospital, and I went and seek for treatment.
The founder of APC, Hassan Ayariga, says he regrets the action of his boys.
I am not happy of it, and I think that the act by my party members was not the best, and I apologize on behalf of my party members. But then I am still waiting for the behavior of the journalist is not the best at all.
But he was quick to refute claims in an earlier report put out by the journalist.
In the story, the gentleman even said that I confirmed that I was beaten to the ground. Seriously, I don't know what kind of journalism and journalists we have here in this country who think that because they have the power of the pen, they can destroy the integrity of people with just 3-4 paragraphs. Today, I'm told that the GJA, Afulmani, has again issued a statement saying that Hassan Ayariga has hired boys to beat a journalist. Come on, Mr. Aful. I think you're beyond that. Don't join those people who write anything for people to read.
Now, the Greater Accra Regional Women Organizer of the National Democratic Party, Felicia McBoy, has retained her position after polling 59 votes of the total valid vote. She called for unity to bring back the party in 2020.
In contender Lucirio Sebi, who had 44 votes. Jessica Brima also emerged as the deputy women organizer for the Greater Accra region after defeating close contenders. Thomas Ashong, who is the incumbent Greater Accra regional youth organizer, retained his position after beating 2 others with 65 votes. Alhaji Mohammed was elected deputy regional youth organizer after he garnered 67 votes. The newly elected executives were sworn into office. Both the women and youth organizers-elect promised to work hard to bring back the NDC to power in 2020.
It's about NDC. So I once again thank all the women in the region, thank my opponents, and tell her I have a open hands. Together we build. They should all come on board for us to work hard to bring NDC back to power 2020.
The election is over. There is no Afutu camp, no Ashon camp, no Yima camp. But together with the 2 contestants, we'll come together and fight a common goal of winning election 2020 for our great party, the NDC.
Adekoka is Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the NDC.
The vision is that NDC must grow from strength to strength and the NDC must win 2020. So both of them, all the aspirants, have the same message. One has won and we all have to come together to support each other, support the one who has won, for us to move forward in the right direction.
The NDC party is expected to hold elections for the remaining regional executive positions on Saturday, September 1.
New Patriotic Party, Nana Obiri Boahen, says former President John Dramani Mahama's eligibility to contest the 2020 elections is a matter of law which must be tested in court. Speaking to 3FM's Winston Amon Sunrise, Nana Obiri Boahen said benefits entitled to a former president, if he desires to go for re-election, will also need interpretation.
Former President John Dramani Mahama has declared his intention to contest the presidential primaries of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. But his eligibility to contest the 2020 elections has come under scrutiny after a senior lecturer at the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana advised the former president to seek legal advice on his eligibility. But on 3FM's morning show Sunrise, the leading member of the MPP, Nana Obiri Boahen, who is also a legal practitioner, said Mahama's eligibility is a dicey issue, which would require interpretation.
It means that the framers of the Constitution, in actual fact, never envisaged that kind of situation. And that situation has emerged. And definitely, you need to go to court to look at the legality, constitutionality, or the unconstitutionality of the situation.
A former presidential staffer and member of parliament for Buza South, Clement Apak, said nothing bars the former president from contesting the 2020 elections.
When President Mahama took over the reins of this country upon the demise of the former president, President Mills, now late, President Mills had already served more than half of his term. And President Mahama was not elected at the time to finish the remaining of the tenure of President Mills. So he is very clear in terms of the Constitution end this interpretation. And I think if anyone takes this thing to court, it is only going to be a waste of the time of the justices of the Supreme Court, and it's going to be a waste of the time of the taxpayers.
Former President Mahama exited power after failing to secure a 50+1% vote in the 2016 elections. Let's turn to education, as teachers at the 46 colleges of education across the country will lay down their tools in October if government fails to address their concerns. This is to register their displeasure over what they described as the lackadaisical attitude of past and present governments towards extending market premiums and book and research allowances to them.
Present at the press briefing were the National Executive Officers of Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, SETAG, zonal chairpersons across the country, as well as local chairpersons and secretaries of all colleges in the Eastern and Greater Accra zone. They lamented their members have been discriminated against and marginalized since the passage of the Colleges of Education Act in 2012, Act 847, which upgraded training colleges to tertiary colleges of education status. Tutors in these colleges therefore possess the minimum requirement needed to teach at tertiary levels. According to them, SETAG members remain the only category of teachers in the tertiary education fraternity who do not enjoy market premium, but rather retention premium meant for pre-tertiary teachers. The association is unhappy with the development.
We are by this press conference telling government that if at the beginning of the academic year in October, government does not negotiate market premium and book and research allowance for members of SETAG and implement same, members will embark on the longest indefinite industrial action Ghana is yet to witness.
They also raised concerns over the undue delay in constituting governing councils for the colleges of education.
The vacuum created violates Act 847, which continues to have adverse effects on the smooth running of the institutions in the face of the following: delay in decision making initiatives, which is worsening the plight of members in the institutions; undue delay in promotion of deserving tutors who have had to serve for over 7 years without going through any form of promotion.
The group was worried about the introduction of a 4-year Bachelor of Education degree program, which begins in October. Though the teachers say they support the program, they contend they are yet to see the new curriculum to be implemented, let alone being oriented to be abreast with its content. SETAG executives say the delay may affect the effective implementation of the curriculum.
On MTN Video Report today, our citizen journalist Alfred Dako highlights the poor state of a school building at Kimasafo in the Eastern region.
This is a classroom in Achim Asafo, Salvation Army School. This building was evacuated in 6 months' time now. There has been twice vacation within this year, and nothing has been done here. Leaves has been growing in these classrooms. They brought blocks here, but nothing has been done with that. The tree over here, this is where they have been going to classes nowadays. So in terms of this rain coming, what are they going to do? This is the sun they brought for some weeks now, but there have been nothing doing on the building.
You can also send your video report via WhatsApp number 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044. We'll be back with some business news and an update on the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited staff who will be laid off. Stay with us.
You're watching News 360. Good evening to you and thanks for staying with us. Time for business with me, Nanikia Mensah Brampan. Talking about issues or matters within the banking sector, a former country partner of PricewaterhouseCoopers has tasked the Bank of Ghana to tighten its monitoring to deal with banks which are flouting its regulations. Felix Addo also suggested the central bank make funding arrangements for banks which are unable to meet the capital adequacy requirement of 400 million cedis, and he was speaking on the sidelines of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana conference here in Accra.
Speaking on the sidelines of the 2018 Practice Management Conference of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana in Accra, the country partner Felix Addo said he believes that the collapse has further restricted banking operations. Bank of Ghana is expected to pump in 8 billion cedis as liquidity support for the collapsed banks. Part of the amount will be used to pay off workers. Felix Addo said such liquidity support to the banks could further impose pressure on the taxpayer.
8 billion. Eventually it may be the taxpayer, all right, because we still don't have a deposit insurance fund operationally yet, okay. So that's one. Now the creditors of these banks, all right, the banks are businesses, so they have creditors, suppliers, leases they've signed up, and a whole host of other things.
Of a major concern to him was whether the remaining banks are ready to meet the capital adequacy requirement of 400 million cedis. He proposed the Bank of Ghana seeks funding arrangements for banks which cannot meet the requirement.
If you're not able to make the requirements, Bank of Ghana, of course, have provisions like liquidity support, like sending you an advisor. When it gets really bad, they will send you an administrator to come and help you. And of course, if still the administrator cannot come up with restructuring plans which will turn the bank around, then of course you can go into a purchase and assumption situation and then the receivership administrator position.
The Practice Management Conference was organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana to fashion out new ways for the profession. The theme was Strategies for Building a Profitable and Sustainable Accounting Practice. Chief Executive of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, ICAG, Kwesi Ajiman, emphasized on strong adherence to international accounting standards.
Right, so let's move away from issues on banking. And the Auditor General, Daniel Domelovo, says the audit service will soon begin construction audits to check the quality of roads and buildings constructed by government. At the 2018 audit launch in Accra, he stressed the initiative is to ensure value for money and apply sanctions to contractors who execute substandard contracts in the country.
The 2018 audit launch was aimed at educating heads of departments and agencies on the importance of auditing and the legal framework that backs the operations of the service. It also gave participants the opportunity to abreast themselves with the available sanctions failure to comply with audit rules. In a presentation, the Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Ajenim Boateneji, said,
"The law categorically says that it should not be as a result of dilatory conduct."
The project director of Public Financial Management Reforms Project at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Sani Abdullahi, said the law does not allow political heads to be principal spending officers, but this does not happen in most ministries.
The minister cannot authorize commitments under the law. Under the law, the minister, i.e. of Food and Agric, had not been identified as being responsible for the management of the public funds in Agric. Why wouldn't we have our ministers concentrating on policy? So then we have the technocrats managing the day-to-day work of money.
The Auditor General Daniel Domelovo, on his part, said the audit service will soon rule out measures to audit all aspects of the economy, which will come with tough sanctions.
Anytime government loses money, we can disallow and surcharge the person whose negligence or non-performance or misbehavior brought it about. And therefore it's time we don't surcharge only expenditure but revenue. We go after revenue as well, and we are going to do that. We all see our roads constructed within a year and they are gone. We are going to look at them.
He again stated the service will disallow the payment of salaries of heads of department and agencies who do not comply with the 30-day deadline of response of observation by the audit service. He also hinted of damning reports from 2 regions covered in the ongoing audit of payrolls in the country.
Okay, so we're going back to issues on banking, and the Chief Executive Officer of Consolidated Bank Ghana has been reacting to some media reports. It says that the management of Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited CBG has taken notice of reports in the media about massive layoffs to be effected by the bank as part of efforts to implement the purchase and assumption transaction it undertook following the recent distress of 5 banks. Now, CBG informs the general public that it has established an integration roadmap with the objective of right-sizing the branch network and rationalizing headcount, amongst others. Now, while this may involve some reduction in headcount, management is taking steps to ensure that this does not impose undue hardship on its staff. And a core part of this integration and rationalization exercise is career training programs for all staff who may be exited as a result. Now, CBG is also finalizing a plan for affected staff to transition to other economic models which will enable them provide essential outsourced services to the bank where appropriate. Again, CBG is an indigenous bank with a strong balance sheet, well positioned to protect the best interest of its depositors as well as its staff, and they're looking forward to an enduring partnership with all their stakeholders and also to build an entity that will transcend the generation. Right, so for that release there from CBG, we have some unions also reacting, and the Union of Industry, Commerce, Finance Workers, UNICOF, has described as shocking a decision by the management of the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited CBG to lay off some 1,700 workers. And the General Secretary of UNICOF, John Amegashi, noted the development is a breach of confidence by the Bank of Ghana since it has not engaged affected staff on detail of their compensation and exit pay.
1,700 employees of the newly established Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited will lose their jobs by the end of September this year. Out of the number, 700 are mobile bankers of the defunct Beige Bank, while 1,000 are former employees of the Royal Bank, the Construction Bank, Unibank and the Sovereign Bank, who were transferred to the CBG under a purchase and assumption agreement approved by the Bank of Ghana on August 1. According to sources close to the Consolidated Bank Ghana Limited, the layoffs was part of the business rationalization program of the new bank to reduce its current operational cost of about 60 million Ghana cedis per month and reduce staff numbers by a minimum of 1,700. General Secretary of UNICOF, John Amegashi, says the Bank of Ghana must protect the interest of the dismissed staff.
We are expecting the government to come to the aid of these workers, make funds available. As much as they are very quick to get funds to establish the Consolidated Bank, they should be able to get money because they took the decision. They must be able to address all the challenges. So the workers in UT and Capital are paid whatever is due them. Then thereafter we can engage as to how their assets will be matched to repay to Bank of Ghana if there need be.
Secretary General of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, Solomon Kote, called on the management of the Consolidated Bank to engage the ICU on the exit package for the affected staff.
If there were others who were not full-time employees, okay, but by the nature of their job, they are called as and when they are needed, then Consolidated Bank can look at those class of workers, okay, and treat them by their rights. Right. Okay, so as of now, by ICU, we are not in copy of those letters indicating that over 400 to 700 workers are going to be laid off in Beige Capital. You cannot approbate and reprobate when you have told you that you have 60 days for me to take a decision on you. Then less than 60 days, you come back to say, I've taken a decision on you. That would be unfair labor practice.
The bank's total branches are also expected to reduce to about 120 from the current 191 under a far-reaching exercise meant to make the state-owned lender efficient.
Right, so talking about the banking crisis and matters arising, tomorrow on New Day, the team at 8:15 will be having an exclusive interview with the former Finance Minister, Seth Terkper, as well as some other matters regarding free SHS, and also make a date and time with them tomorrow at 8:15 on New Day. That will do for the business segment tonight. With me, Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Alfred is standing by.
Thank you, Nanekia. Now, Trade Union Congress will, from September, push government to pay at least 100 cedis every month to the elderly who are not on the Social Security and National Insurance Trust as SNIT pension scheme. The TUC says its decision fueled by latest findings which indicate that only 27% of the elderly who retire from active service after 60 years in Ghana receive pension benefits.
The TUC findings again indicate that the aged comprise 7% of the country's population. It showed that out of the 1.9 million elderly population who retire every year, only 156,000 receive pension benefits. This represents 8% of those who receive pension benefits from the Social Security and the National Insurance Trust (SNIT). The findings attributed the problem to the 73% of the elderly who are engaged in self-employment and do not consider pension benefits. The TUC has since indicated its decision to push government to at least pay 100 cedis to those who do not receive benefits from SNIT. It explained that discussions between them and government on the implementation since 2012 are yet to be finalized. But the TUC is suggesting payment is done through the LEAP program, though with a different amount will be paid.
It will even be more than 100 Ghana cedis. If you look at the corruption that is going on in the system, the waste that is going on, government should have the capacity to pay higher amounts to those who have retired and are not on any pension scheme. 300 Ghana cedis are meant, which is inadequate. Because as we retire, that is when we need more money to take care of so many things. The children that we rely on when we retire, they are also not working. So how can they take care of us?
The Trade Union Congress is concerned with the poor treatment of the elderly in their efforts to access healthcare services with their insurance cards. It has again indicated its commitment to spearhead the passage of the aged policy before the end of this year.
Talking about having some implementations like free buses, a burden of buses. There are so many issues that the policy is actually taking into consideration.
Recommendations from the findings are expected to be tabled before some key ministries for implementation.
And some other news this evening. A 9-member committee set up by government to plan the funeral of the late Kofi Annan has finalized preparations. The final funeral rites of the former United Nations Secretary General will commence on Monday, September 10 and end on Thursday, September 13. Minister of Information Kojo Oppong Nkrumah announced this at a meeting with the press in Accra.
According to the planning committee for the funeral of the late former United Nations Secretary General Busumuru Kofi Annan, his remains will be received by the President on Monday, September 10 at the Accra International Airport at 4 p.m. This will be followed by a filing pass and payment of last respects by the general public on Tuesday, September 11 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There will also be a filing pass of dignitaries, recognized groups, members of parliament and chiefs on Wednesday, September 12. Kofi Annan will be buried on Thursday, September 13 at the new military cemetery. Busumuru Kofi Annan passed away in Switzerland on August 18 at age 80. He had requested a simple funeral ceremony.
You're watching News 360. We've got the latest of sports news coming up shortly. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Some more stories before we head on to sports. The leader and founder of Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, is praying God grants President Akufo-Addo and his government the mental soundness, physical stamina and emotional intelligence to deliver on his mandate. He made the request at a meeting between the president and some religious leaders at the presidency.
Where the Christian Council, the Pentecostal Council, the representatives of Chief Imam and Muslim leaders to discuss issues of national concern. Expected, the outcome will help government work effectively with the clergy to address the public welfare. General Overseer of Action Chapel International asked for spiritual alertness, good understanding, wisdom for the president and government to execute their mandate to improve the lot of Ghanaians.
I pray for cabinet that they will be empowered to have the courage to take decisions that will move the economy and create an atmosphere conducive for productivity and creativity in the land, and to deal with the sufferings and the hardships. May they have the necessary sensitivity to hear, to know, to feel what is on the ground.
President Akufo-Addo said the meeting will be a constant feature to help address issues of national development.
It's important that from the different angles from which we approach the public interest, we work together. Work together doesn't mean that we have to agree on everything. Work together means that we have an attitude of cooperation, an attitude which is that we can jaw, we can talk about matters, and we will try and find a way that together, collectively, we address the public welfare of our people.
The meeting was held behind closed doors.
There is no church organization, be it the Catholic Conference or the Charismatic Associations or the Pentecostal or Christian Council, that opposes the view of the churches being taxed. It's just the manner in which things are done that we raised some concerns. Then again, our thoughts have also been that there should be continuous engagements and there should be a regulatory body, so that it's not seen that it's the government that wants to do that, but a regulatory body has actually been put in place to be able to streamline the activities of churches.
You're watching News 360. Coming up next is sports news with Thierry Nan.
All right, so good evening and welcome to the sports segment right here on News 360. My name is Thierry Nyan, and we're starting off tonight with that communique, from FIFA. Now, following the recent meeting between FIFA and government of Ghana officials, together with the head of the FIFA and CAF liaison team for the Ghana Football Association concerning situation of the GFA and taking into consideration the subsequent withdrawal by Ghana authorities of the petition to liquidate the GFA, the Bureau of the FIFA Council has decided to appoint a normalization committee for the GFA. Now, what that means is that a suspension of the GFA will consequently not take effect. The normalization committee shall be composed of an adequate number of members to be identified by a joint FIFA and CAF mission to be deployed to Ghana as soon as possible. All members of the normalization committee must pass an eligibility check to be carried out by FIFA review committee. The normalization committee will act as an electoral committee, and none of its members will be eligible for any of the open positions in the elections. All right, so the key points from that particular statement I am going to be, detailing to you now on your screens. Now, what effectively FIFA is trying to say is that there's going to be some sort of, working together, between the normalization committee and the special task force, of course, to run the affairs of the Ghana Football Association. That's the first one. The second one is that they are going to be reviewing the GFA statutes, according to the requirements of FIFA and CAF. And then the third is going to be the fact that the normalization committee is also going to be organizing and conducting elections of the next Ghana Football Association. Still on the same story, World Football Governing Body, FIFA, has withdrawn a notice issued earlier this month, subsequent to what I just brought to you. Now, Minister of Information designates Kojo Apong-Nkrumah at a news conference in Accra said a delegation from FIFA will work with governments for normalization of the Ghana Football Association.
Earlier this month, World Football Governing Body, FIFA, issued a directive to the government of Ghana to withdraw a court case seeking to liquidate the Ghana Football Association, GFA. In a letter signed by Secretary General of FIFA, Fatma Samura, the governing body warned that failure to comply with the directive would earn Ghana a worldwide ban. FIFA has since August 28 withdrawn the directive.
The mandate of the committee has also been spelled out to run the Ghana Football Association's daily affairs and cooperate with the task force once it has been set up by FIFA, CAF and the government of Ghana. 2. To review the GFA statutes to ensure compliance with the requirements of FIFA and CAF, particularly Article 15 of the FIFA statutes. And 3. Once the GFA statutes meet the requirements of FIFA and CAF, this normalization committee will organize and conduct elections of the GFA Executive Committee on the basis of the revised GFA statutes.
A normalization committee will now work with the liaison team charged with running Ghana football to institute the relevant reforms and ensure that the Ghana Football Association is compliant with the laws of Ghana. The normalization committee will conduct elections to elect GFA officials not later than March 2019. Nong Falong, TV3.
All right, so that is it. Then obviously it's a developing story, so we'll be keeping an eye on all the happenings and we're bringing you all the updates as well. Now, as some ex-players are looking to also be part of the normalization committee, we'll bring you, some stories to that effect. But let's move on to boxing. And World Boxing Organization superb bantamweight champion Isaac Dugbe insists he feels fully Ghanaian and has no qualms about representing the country despite his reservations about the support he receives. Michael Oteje has this one.
Has claimed he is not getting the credit he deserves for reviving Ghana boxing. A member of his team carried a British flag in the ring after his win on Saturday, and at least one British newspaper said he is the British world champion you never knew. All of that has led to suggestions that he is not sure where his identity lies.
If my identity was at any other place, I don't think I represent Ghana at the London 2012 Olympic Games and then have a horrible experience and still go back to England, have the great life and great everything, go back to America, California, great life and everything, and still go back to Ghana. Where else?
All right, so that'll be all for sports right here on News 360 with me, Thierry, and I'll be back with some more sports later on Sports Unlimited at 10:30 p.m. Keep watching TV3.
Hello there, it's time to do some entertainment news tonight. My name is Miriam Osei Ajuman. Now, the Ghana Actors Guild has opted for e-voting in its upcoming election, slated for October 27th. The technology, according to the Guild's elections committee, is foolproof, cost-effective and verifiable enough to check vote rigging. Nominations for persons seeking to contest for the position will open August 31st.
Candidates are to pay a non-refundable filing fees as follows. President, 2,500. First Vice President, reserved for females, 2,000 cedis. Second Vice President, 2,000 cedis. Election date falls on 27th of October 2018.
Other positions, including Treasurer, Welfare Secretary and National Organizer, will each attract a filing fee of 1,500 cedis. About 2,000 members are expected to vote electronically in the October 27 elections.
Ghana Actors Guild is introducing e-voting in this election. This is as a result of the experiences that we had in the former elections where people were accused of rigging elections. We think that the e-voting is accurate, no ballot paper printing, that saves the guild cost, instant collation of results.
So who is eligible to contest?
Person must pay all his dues and the person must be without blemish. We don't have any adverse records about the person. The person must be a member of a committee before the person will be eligible to contest for the high post of what? National Executive.
The 5-member Elections Committee pledged to provide a fair and even platform for all candidates. CEO of eVoteMinder, handlers of the e-voting process, Ni Ajete, noted the system is foolproof, adding results cannot be skewed in favor of any candidate.
That it can be skewed in favor of a candidate, I think it's 100% transparent. Our only interest is to facilitate the process. Should there be any dispute, we tell you what is in a pen. It will confirm what the machine says.
Nominations for wannabe national executives will be opened on August 31 and will close on September 21.
Still staying with the Guild, meanwhile, President of the Ghana Actors Guild, Sam Fishin, has refuted allegations that he has sidelined his Vice President, Van Vicker.
We've not been seeing Van Vicker. You're supposed to be working together.
I won't want to comment on it. As far as I know, I am not sure any one of the executive members can say anywhere that he or she is not being reached or he or she is being left out. Because we work together, we communicate. If there are meetings, we inform ourselves. So it is not as if some people get informed and others don't get informed.
When was the last time you heard from him, you spoke to him?
Oh, I think that the last time, well, I cannot tell the last time immediately. Maybe I would have to do my checks.
Going forward, what is the position of the Constitution on executive absenting themselves? How many days can they?
It is so clear. It is on point. It says that if an executive member, an office holder, absents him or herself from meetings or commitments of the executive for 3 times without adequate reasons or communication, the person is deemed to have vacated his or her post. And so going forward, I mean, all these loopholes have been sealed. And we expect that people will take office and live by the oath of office and the spirit of the Constitution.
And that's about it for Entertainment News tonight. There's more news on 3news.com. My name is Miriam Osei Ajman. I catch you on 3 News, on 3FM, of course, at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Have a good evening.
Well, good evening. It's interesting to know that the Ghana Actors Guild are employing e-voting.
We hope it goes well.
Take care of. I mean, there's vote rigging allegations.
We'll see how it goes.
But I want to say thank you so much. On behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful that you stay with us here on News 360. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Ford. Visit our website. It's 3news.com for some more news. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening.